Yes, guys. Ryjack back here for another Man City video. Today we got a Twitter roundup of some stories I've seen throughout the day. Really interesting stuff. I was not expecting to see much content today, but there was a lot. There was a lot going on. So without further ado, we will start. Anybody who's new to the channel, leave a like, comment, let me know what you think of these transfers, and sub to the channel. We are on the way to 200 subs. Very, very close, so appreciate that support as always. Anyway, I'll pull up the bookmarks for you guys and let's let's see what's going on. First thing I see when I wake up, City are eyeing Cesc Fabregas as Pep Guardiola's successor when he eventually leaves. Now, I don't think he'll be leaving after this season, but after next season, I think that's definitely a possibility. He's got 2 years left on the contract. Is he going to renew again? I don't know. I feel like probably not. So Cesc Fabregas is the one, according to Steve K. Is Steve K a good source? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I've seen him correct on some things and incorrect on some things. So for me, Como have done pretty well. From what I understand, I'm not a huge Serie A fan. There's not really a big Serie A following here in the U.S. for me. So I won't lie and say I've seen a ton of Como, but I know I've seen RB Leipzig want to hire Cesc, and I've seen Bayer Leverkusen were interested in Cesc this summer as replacements for their outgoing coaches. Como came up from Serie B, and he obviously has done really well with them. There was a report the other day they backed this guy. He was potentially going to be the Inter Milan manager, and the owners were like, absolutely not, we're keeping you no matter what. So, I mean, they really rate him, obviously. They did very well in Serie A. I think they finished like 12th or something like that. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments there. But Cesc Fabregas, obviously an attacking-minded type of manager, and I think another Spanish manager as well. Obviously, that's something that's big in the City hierarchy, is a lot of Spanish management and executives, so it would make sense. Is he the one? I don't know. I think I would still love it if it was Luis Enrique somehow. Is he going to leave PSG? Probably not leave PSG, I would imagine. I mean, they're dominating. They're the best team in the world at the moment. So, I mean, maybe he'd want to, but Cesc Fabregas is young. He could be a coach we could have, just like Pep, for, maybe 10 years or so if it did come down to him succeeding. He's obviously just now getting into management. Also, you got to think about Vincent Kompany. Is he going to be the one to replace Pep? Maybe if Bayern, he wins another Bundesliga or two and maybe a Champions League, then I think certainly Kompany is in the running as well. But if they think Cesc is the guy, maybe he is the guy. I don't know. Remains to be seen. But anyway, that report is out there. Thought it was interesting. As we move, we got some news on Morgan Gibbs-White. Very interesting. Basically, from what I gather here, he's open to joining City. Still is interested. Do City have space for him? I don't know exactly. It says he would be open to joining City. Obviously wants to play with his very close friend Phil Foden, who I think he is Foden's kid's godparent, something like that. So obviously they're very close, very good friends. Would be nice to play with your best mate and whatnot. He wants to work with Pep. However, it's going to be a difficult one. Pep, apparently, according to this post right here via Tom Colomose, again, I'm not sure on the reliability there, but he gave him a hug and a word for Gibbs-White. He spoke in the tunnel to him and basically said, he really appreciates him as a player and would look to sign him in the summer. And then the $70 million asking price was basically too much for City. They said, no, we can't do that. It's not happening. So that is why that deal died very quickly, even though many fans and Twitter had said basically that deal was done. But I guess the asking price and Forest were not willing to negotiate. Again, another player that's not one to overly excite you as a fan, but again, a very solid player. If he was to come, I think we would need more than just Gundo leaving, which I will talk about here in just a moment. I think you would need another player, Mateo Kovacic, potentially out the door as well. I would say Bernardo, but again, he's been made captain, so it seems very unlikely that Bernardo will be leaving this summer. I would be extremely surprised at this point. He obviously came out and said he's not leaving, so something drastic would have to change for that. But Kovacic is the one that's maybe going to have to be heading out if we want to make room for Gibbs White in that midfield. He is English, which is great, helps with homegrown. Maybe that can help with the right back homegrown situation, which we're finding some trouble buying Tino Livramento. But again, this one, if Forest are not going to budge on the 70 million and no other midfielders leave besides Gundo potentially, I don't know if there's enough room in the midfield for Gibbs White. I don't think City will go to that high of a price. Anyway, the other midfielder that I was just speaking about, Gundogan. Galatasaray are hopeful of signing İlkay Gundogan this summer via Jack Gorhan. Again, very, very good source. He's a City source. So if he's getting this information, obviously, I would say it's accurate. Galatasaray, Turkish league teams have been all over the news lately wanting to sign big names and for big money. So I do think this one is more than likely going to happen. I think Gundo leaves the club, and he leaves as obviously a club legend, but it won't be until after the Club World Cup ends. So unfortunately, this will be the last time, should he leave, we see him in the City colors, but maybe one day comes back as a coach. There's a lot of talk about that. Everybody knows he's doing his coaching badges or whatnot, and is a great football mind. Football IQ is through the roof for Gundogan. So if he does leave, of course, I think he will be very good for Galatasaray. He was very good in the second half of the season for City, but again, 35 years old. Can we rely on him? Probably not. We have other players available now. Tijani Reinders, Nico Gonzalez, Bernardo's going to stay, Kovacic is still here, Rodri's here, Cherki's here, Foden's, is a kind of a logjam in midfield for Gundo, and I know a lot of fans will be a bit on the tentative side when we keep Gundo because they think we might keep Gundo in and not see Nico Gonzalez or not see Nico O'Reilly or not see Tijani Reinders because Pep is so loyal to his guys. So if he leaves, it would obviously open room and give more minutes available for some younger players who have a longer future here at the club than Gundo has. He's either going to leave this summer or next summer. There's no third option, I would say. So that's that story. I do think this is accurate, and I expect Gundogan to leave after the Club World Cup for a very small, very, very small fee. Now we get into some loan information. Juma Ba is set to join Lyon on loan from Man City. The French club first considered, very notably here, Oscar Bob and Kusanov, and then McAteer Echeverri, but have agreed on the defender. So I really like to see that Bob and Kusanov were shut down as no-goes. We're not having those guys go out on loan. McAteer Echeverri, McAteer doesn't really make sense to go on loan because he's only got a year on the contract, so he would just go on loan and then leave on a free. That wouldn't really make sense for me. There'd be no reason to, buy McAteer at the end of it. Echeverri looks like they want to keep him, or not interested in loaning out, which is very nice. Promising for City fans. I know they're very excited for Echeverri in general. And Oscar Bob, I would have been furious had we loaned out Oscar Bob. I think on his actual ability versus the other wingers, I think he's our best winger. We haven't seen that in a City shirt, but that's my personal belief. I back Oscar Bob. I think he is going to be fantastic for City, and I would be very, very upset if we loaned him out. So to see that we are not is very exciting. Juma Ba goes to Lyon on loan, which is obviously the other player as part of this Cherokee deal where City agreed to send a player on loan to Lyon, which is good. If Lyon get another player over the next few years as from their academy, and he's one of the hot prospects in the world, City now have this good relationship with Lyon where maybe we get first dibs on that player because of this deal where we did with Turkey and now the loan for Juma Ba. So good to see. Hopefully he does well on loan there and is able to come back following summer as a City player. Now, another loan, or not loan, but not to be loaned player, Vitor Hayes. Of course, he did just play 90 minutes for City in the opening game of the Club World Cup, and I thought he was very impressive. Looks like City higher-ups in the hierarchy agree. They have no interest in loaning out Vitor Hayes this window. which is interesting. There's a lot of people out there who have commented on my videos, whether on YouTube or on TikTok, and said Vitor Hayes needs to go out on loan. He's too young. He's not ready, etc., etc. But this says, while there is top clubs interested from Germany, Spain, and England, Pep sees him as part of the plans. It's interesting because how many center backs do you want in your club? How many do you think is a good number? Can you run with 4? I would say no. Can you run with 5? I would say yes. 6, though? That's probably too many. So for the center back position, it's kind of hard because, you have Gvardiol, who also can play left back, and Akanji, who can also play right back. But if you just talk about out-and-out center backs, you have Gvardiol, Ruben Diaz, John Stones, Nathan Ake, Vitor Hayes, and Kusanov. That is 6. I doubt 6 center backs are staying. I don't see it. So if Vitor Hayes is staying, I would say John Stones or potentially Akanji are out the door. Vitor Hayes is a right-footed center back, so I would imagine if he's staying, a right-footed center back is leaving out Nathan Ake as part of the discussion. Is it Stones or is it Akanji? Personally, I would rather see Akanji go. I think Stones is the better player, but Stones is so injury-prone. It's a tough one. Stones also only has 1 year left on the deal. We've seen plenty of links with him going back to Everton this summer. Is that going to happen? Do they have enough cash to make that a deal? I don't know. It's a tough one. But if Vitor Hayes is staying, it makes no sense to me to keep 6 center backs. I think you have to let one of that trio of Stones leave or Akanji leave. And then, I guess you could loan out Kusanov, but it looks like they don't want to do that. I don't know why they would. He's obviously young and promising. So either Akanji or Stones should leave. Again, another complication, Stones is homegrown, Akanji is not. So it would be better for the homegrown rule if Akanji leaves. Again, Pep is very trusting in Akanji. We all know that. So I would guess it's more likely that Stones leaves at the moment, but remains to be seen. Hopefully we get some more information on that, but very promising to see that the club rate Vitor Hayes as they should. He's a Brazilian, young, talented center back and did well in his first game. I hope to see him some more at this Club World Cup going forward. So that is the Twitter roundup for the day. Do appreciate you guys watching. I will be doing a live watch along on Sunday for the Al Ain game live here on my channel on YouTube. And if you like the short form content, check out my YouTube shorts or my TikTok. Link is in the bio for that. We're almost at 1,500 followers on TikTok, which is very cool. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. I will be back on the channel live whenever there's some more news, especially if there's something drops tomorrow. I'll be live for that. But if not, like I said, live watch along Sunday night against Al Ain in the Club World Cup. I will see you there.